John H. Johnson is the Chicagoan who created a media empire with publications like Jet and Ebony. And there's a new book chronicling his legacy called Empire, the house that John H. Johnson built. Good thing we've got the author, Dr. Margena Christian, who was a senior editor at Ebony and worked closely with Mr. Johnson. Hello and good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yes, yes. So tell me about getting the job there and just what it meant to you.
I was elated when I got the job because I was from St. Louis, and like so many people, I grew up and read Ebony and Jet magazines, and to have followed my dream, I truly, as they would say, touched a dream when I was interviewed at Johnson Publishing Company by Linda Johnson Rice, Mr. Johnson's daughter, as well as Mr. Johnson himself. So to have gotten that position was, once again, a dream come true.
So as senior editor, we were just talking about some of the specifics of your role. You can share how closely you worked with Mr. Johnson, and then we'll get into a few of the interviews that you got a chance to do.
All right.
So go ahead. You could tell me,
Sure.
how closely did you work with
Well,
him?
actually, I had a very unique position in that I was with Jet magazine first, which was the weekly publication. And because we were weekly, we met every day. And we worked very closely with him because he was so hands-on. So every day we met, and even towards the end, when he wasn't able to necessarily come down for meetings, we would go up to his private suites and we would have meetings. And he was hands-on from selecting those who would be on the cover to staying at the very end until we completed proofs and completed the magazines. You name it. It was his baby, and he never took his hands off of it.
When you were there, did you all understand the impact that Ebony was having on the community then and that it still has now? I mean, I know it's a big deal, but did you really feel that history was being made?
We knew. We did not sit and watch him make history. We actually helped him to write it. And we knew that we were a part of something bigger as well. And the impact that it had on people, we learned to take back our narrative, and that's what he helped us to see, and that's what he did, because it's important. If you do not show people who you are, they will tell you. And when it comes to African Americans and people of color, it's important that we own our narrative, that we let people know that we have come from a rich history and that we have created and we've done wonderful things. No matter what people tell us or show us, we know who we are, and it's important to have ownership, because through ownership, that is how you are able to do the things that Mr. Johnson was able to do.
Yeah, and that's why Ebony, it's a publication like that, has been so significant, because it helped define us culturally.
Yes.
Not only to the outside world, but also within ourselves, and giving us something that we can take pride in. So let's get down to a little bit of the nitty gritty here.
Okay.
You were just telling me, very instrumental in some of these interviews and getting the content into this magazine and out into the streets of, I guess you could say, the country, out into the streets of the world in a sense.
Yes.
So tell us about Kanye. Kanye West is somebody that you ended up interviewing at one point. Tell me about that.
I interviewed Kanye when his first album came out, The College Dropout, and Kanye was this colorful character. I mean, he was the Kanye that we remember from the very beginning, and I remember John Legend told me this little secret. He said he always goes for shock value, so remember that. And John was just on the cusp of about to come out, and so when I interviewed Kanye, I always knew that in the back of my mind, but he was, I went to his listening party for his first album, and his mom, Dr. Donda, was sitting next to me, and she, being an English professor, and I also adjunct taught English, I would tell her doing interviews that that's something I'm considering doing, and she would encourage me. Well, you should go for it. Go and get your doctorate.
Oh, wow.
And I wish she was here so that I could tell her, Dr. Donda, I did it.
Yeah.
I got my doctorate.
Yeah, okay. So many more interviews that we're actually out of time for, but I'm looking at Magic Johnson, Janet Jackson, Alicia Keys, all of this that you're talking about in the book.
Yes, yes. You name the person, we interviewed that person, because careers were made with not only Ebony magazine, but also Jet magazine, and even Ebony Fashion Fair.
Yeah.
I mean, so many people came through there, and even people who were photographers, you know, Gordon Parks, it was just a mega, an empire, truly it was.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
thank you so much. History.
Thank you so
A
very
part
much
of
for having
history.
me.
Thank you. Empire, the house that built John H. Johnson built. The house that John H. Johnson built. Make sure you check it out. It's available on Amazon.